Hello everyone, this is Anamika Chetri, a trainee of B.Ed second semester of Siliguri Tarai B.Ed College and Siliguri Primary Teachers Training College. My method subject is English and today I would be dealing with a poem of class 12 of ICSE board. The name of the poem is I Sit and Look Out and it is written by a very famous American poet, Walt Whitman. So basically this poem is based on the sufferings and the sorrows of the world that is happening around us. The poet has described only the negative things that he sees around him. There is not a single positive thing here. He also sees the cruelties that people do with each other. He sees those people, the rich people torturing the poor ones. He sees people being mistreated. Everything he sees, he writes it in these lines. So I would like to go line by line so that I can explain further to you all. I sit and look out upon all the sorrows of the world and upon all oppression and shame. Here what the poet is saying is, he sits at his own home and then he sees through his window, he sees the sorrows and sufferings of the world that is taking place around him. He sees the oppressions, like he sees the slavery taking place in the society. He sees the poor people being treated very badly by the rich ones. I hear secret convulsive sobs from young men at anguish with themselves, remorseful after deeds done. He also hears secret convulsive sobs. Here secret convulsive sobs means the secret cries of the people. Like it can be of a soldier, like when he goes to the battle, to fight a battle, leaving his family here at home. He cries as well as his family also cries because they are not sure whether he'll come alive or not, whether he'll succeed in his battle. So they all cry in pain, they cry in anger, they cry in pain, and the poet also sees the other young men who are in pain because they have done some kind of mistake, they have committed some kind of crime, and then later they are regretting, like why they have committed it, why they have done that. Then they later regret and then they cry in pain because they have no option left but just to regret. I see in low life the mother misused by her children, dying, neglected, gaunt and desperate. The poet also sees the mothers. Such a beautiful creation of God is mother, and she is a blessing to every single human being, as we all know. So he sees those mothers being misused, mistreated by their own children. He sees those mothers crying, being desperate, wanting to be with their family, but then he sees those children leaving them alone during their old age, during the time of their sickness. They leave their parents alone and then they shift with their family, with their wife as well as with their children, but they leave their parents alone at home. He sees those parents, those mothers crying desperately, wanting to be with their children. As we know, mothers, like, they never think bad about their children. No matter how the children treat her, she'll always think about their children, about the well-being of the children. And the poet also sees what? The wives misused by her husband. I see the treacherous seducer of young women. Poet also sees the wives who are not being treated well by their husbands, who are being misused, who are being mistreated by their own husbands. He sees those kinds of women crying because they are not being given respect, they are not being treated well. Those husbands act as if they are the servants of the house, as if they are there only to do the household works. So those husbands don't treat their wives quite well. Then he sees these women crying, and he also sees the treacherous seducer of young women. That means what he sees is, he sees people, young people being treacherous, not being loyal, like cheating in a relationship, not being loyal towards their partner. He sees these things happening. And he also sees them seducing young women. He sees those people seducing, trying to molest a woman, trying to rape. He sees these things happening in this society. But the poet is not like doing anything to avoid those kind of problems, those kind of sufferings. He's just sitting at his home and then he's just watching without doing anything. I mark the ranklings of jealousy and unrequited love, attempted to be hid. I see these sights on the earth. The poet also sees the markings of jealousy, means the jealous people. He sees jealous people who are like not happy with others' success and others' happiness. Even in our society also we see that there are people who are not happy with your happiness, with your success. They are jealous, they act as if they're happy, or they act as if they are our friends, but then they are not. They are jealous of our happiness, our success. So he also sees unrequited love. He sees love which could not be fulfilled. It can be among a parent, among a father or son, among a daughter and a mother, and it can also be among a boy and a girl. He sees those love which have not been fulfilled because due to some reasons they are being separated. Like in between a boy and a girl, the main reason of separation might be the boy might be rich and the girl might be poor, or maybe because of the caste system. As we all know, caste system still prevails in our society, so this can also be the reason of their unrequited love. And what the poet says is, the workings of battle, pestilence, tyranny, I see martyrs and prisoners. He also sees the battles, the fights happening in the society, the battles between two different countries, and the fights among the society, among the different kind of people in the society. It can be due out of jealousy also, but then he sees those fights happening. And he also sees pestilence. Pestilence here means it's some kind of a disease that keeps spreading all over the world. The poet sees those kind of epidemic disease that is spreading, and the people are suffering due to such diseases. Even right now we are going through epidemic coronavirus. As we all know, so many people are dying all around the world, and even in our own country so many people have been dying. So the poet sees all these things happening, but he's not able to do anything for them. He's just there silent, hoping everything would be good, but then he's not able to act physically to avoid those kind of problems. He sees tyranny, martyrs and prisoners. He also sees the political leaders who are dominating the society, dominating the public people, and then he sees the martyrs, some good people. He sees there are various good peoples who die for their country by doing some good deeds. So he sees those martyrs, but then there are no one to praise them for what they have done. There are no one to see what they have done for their country. And there are other people also who commit a crime and then they live in a prison, leaving their family and home alone. I observe a famine at sea. I observe the sailors casting lots who shall be killed to preserve the lives of the rest. Here the poet also observes famine at sea. When the sailors go on a voyage in a sea, at some point they go shortage of food. There's a shortage of food and water for them, so they have to preserve some important lives. As we know, only rich people are able to live in that condition, so they try to preserve the rich people's lives, and then they will try to kill the poor ones by throwing them in the sea, so that they can save some water and food for themselves for later use. I observe the slights and degradations cast by arrogant persons upon laborers, the poor, and upon Negroes and the like. He also sees the slights and degradations. Slights here means like insults, insulting the poor ones and disgracing the poor ones for their works. He sees those people insulting and degrading the poor ones. He also sees poor laborers who are not being treated quite well by the rich ones. He sees the arrogant and rude people who are not treating the ones who are working on a low level. It can be a labor, a sweeper, a security guard, or a carpenter. He sees those arrogant their bosses who are not treating their employees quite well. He sees all these things happening in the society, but then he's not able to act according to his will. He's just there, he sees, but then he's not able to do anything for them. All the meanness and agony without end, I sitting look out upon, see, hear, and I am silent. So even at the last line, the poet says is all this meanness and cruelness happening in this society. He just sits at his own home. He sees, but then he's not able to do anything for them. He's just there. He sits, hears, and then he's silent. So even in the last line, he says, I see, I hear, and I am silent. He's not able to do anything. Just sees and does nothing. Is not able to act physically, act according to his will, because even he knows that he can't go against those people, those arrogant and rude people in the society. He can't talk to them he's not able to act like how he want to, so that he can avoid those problems, those sufferings in the society. He's not able to act to do anything for them. So this poem is completely about all these negative things, negative sufferings happening in the world. There's not a single positive thing that the poet sees. It's only based on cruelties, acts of meanness that the human beings inflict upon each other. So each line, every single line begins with the acknowledgement of some sufferings. So it is the poem is based on just the sufferings and the sorrows, the negative things happening in the world. So the explanation part is done. I would be continuing my next poem tomorrow. Thank you.